It's Lisa here, Executive Director of the CATDC. I hope that this Friday finds you well, or whenever you're listening to us today. I know you've all been hunkered down at your school sites, working hard to respond to the ever-shifting sands that we find ourselves on as the pandemic continues into its 7th month. I believe it is even more critical at this time to build new relationships across sites as well, to leverage our collective creativity to problem solve and continue to thrive as individuals. So I'm here today with two leaders of our upcoming ongoing program, Surviving and Sustaining People of Color in Independent Schools. Anthony Witte and Quise Edwards Rodriguez have joined us today. Hi, Quise.
Hi.
Hi, Anthony.
Hello.
Welcome. So I'm going to give a brief introduction to both of them, and then we're going to talk a bit about their program and how things are going in their schools. So Anthony Witte has served in independent schools for 16 years, joining Children's Day School as the Director of Inclusion in 2014 after teaching Mandarin at Head Roy School in Oakland. He currently serves on the board of POSIS and the Center for Progressive Education, and he's also been active with NAIS and been a presenter and facilitator for the NAIS People of Color Conference. He's also co-author of Diversity Work in Independent Schools, The Practice and the Practitioner. Quise Rodriguez Edwards joined Catherine Delmar Burke School in 2017 after 12 years working as both a teacher and administrator in independent and public schools. Her role at Burke's is Director of Inclusivity and Community Building. She holds an administrative credential as well as a master's degree in social justice and equity in education from UC Berkeley. Being born and raised in Oakland, Quise says she has developed a deep love and respect for the Bay Area and its roots in diversity, activism, and community. So again, thank you both for joining us today during this really busy time. Quise, can you start us off? How are things going in your school?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for inviting us here today. I will say right now in this moment, I have very positive things to say about Berks right now. We welcomed back our kindergarten and first graders onto campus starting on Monday, and the joy that the children brought to the school was contagious. It reminded us all as educators, as school leaders, that we learn from our kids, that we learn from the children, and that we really need to take their leadership and follow their way. And so being reminded of that helps remind me of why I do the work that I do around diversity, equity, and inclusion in independent schools. And it also reminds me of the importance of coming together to celebrate not only differences, but similarities. And so it is a time of uncertainty and a time of unknown and change. And change brings fear, and the unknown can sometimes be challenging and hard. And all of our school leaders and faculty and staff are working extremely hard right now to find comfort and understanding in the unknown times, which is especially important right now, and why we want to offer this workshop for connection and some kind of familiarity.
Mm-hmm. Great, thank you. Can you speak more, Anthony, about why affinity spaces such as this one you are creating is so important in these times we find ourselves in?
Sure. So when I think about the foundation of independent schools, I think it's fair to say that they were created really as a move away from the kinds of diversity and identity and experiences that we now strive to include. So originally, independent schools did not necessarily have the culture and success of people of color in mind, no less Black, Indigenous people of color. And so the work that we're doing here, I feel, is really trying to change the DNA of independent schools in a way. And it's a slow, difficult process that ideally isn't something that we do alone. So affinity spaces, I feel like, offer that opportunity to connect, to share experiences, to hear from each other and what we're going through, and then really to move to strategies to move forward so that we feel empowered, we identify our personal power, and to join teams and really to gain the kind of collaborative efforts or communities of practice that can help move this work forward. But I think during this process, it's really important to have people that we feel we can be authentic with and open and honest with. And I think that resonates with people, or so we hope.
Wonderful. And it just strikes me that the collaboration of the team that's leading this meeting is in itself must be a very deep well that you can draw from in your own lives. What brings you to do this work, Quise, if you can respond to this at this moment with CATDC?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you actually named it, the collaboration, the need for one another. We came together as a San Francisco Equity Leaders team in a time a few years ago where we needed support and we needed to find connection throughout our schools and not feel so isolated in the DEI work at our individual sites. So we came together to build that connection, to build that support system, and to lead this workshop is to offer that learning and to continue to grow that network and to continue to show to other people in independent schools, specifically people of color in independent schools, how support in numbers can be very powerful when talking to your heads of school, when talking to your board of trustees, and knowing that we all have individual personal power that comes together and is only strengthened when we work together.
Great, wonderful. And maybe this will piggyback on that, Anthony, but what are your greatest hopes for your participants in this group?
You know, building on what Quise said, my greatest hope is that people will identify like-minded colleagues that they can sort of form this community of practice with. I mean, San Francisco Equity Leaders, absolutely they're colleagues and we can discuss things openly and honestly, but at this point I feel that they are really close friends. And it really lifts my day thinking about the next time we're going to be able to meet. And so on lots of different levels, it's just really empowering. As Quise mentioned, we're finding personal power. My hope is that attendees will find that they have something to contribute, that their voices matter, their experiences matter. And we've all breathed in the racist smog, but how do we begin to cleanse our bodies, minds, and spirits? And that's sort of something I hope people will be able to take away, along with tools and strategies, and really a self-sustaining practice to stay healthy for the long haul, because it's a long haul, and ultimately feeling the value of we're stronger together and we're smarter together, and we shouldn't be in this alone. So those are some of my hopes.
And I'd also just like to add that we're resilient people and we've overcome so much, and we will continue to.
Thank you so much, both of you. I know I'm inspired just by listening to you speak and hearing more about your backgrounds and what you hope to bring to this collaborative group setting. And just, extending that out to the larger CATDC community, this time demands us to, yes, be strong individually, and then also reach out to our communities. And CATDC is here for you in that way. Surviving and Sustaining begins next week. There's still room. Please check our website to find out registration information for this workshop and so many other programs that we're offering for you. Quise and Anthony, thank you so much for taking the time today to be with us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
And thank you for the work that you're doing in your schools, and to all of you in the CATDC community. I wish you well. Take care. Until next time.